Let's get started with our first news. Islam Makhachev doesn't seem too happy about Khabib joining his training camp again. During a recent clip, Khabib asked Islam how his preparation was going, and Islam jokingly said that everything was going perfectly fine until Khabib showed up. You could hear the room burst into laughter, but there was a real sense that Islam was half joking, half serious. Over the past few weeks, Islam has been in full focus mode ahead of his next fight, keeping his camp small and tight. When Khabib arrived, as usual, the energy completely shifted. Khabib is known for his intense coaching style. He doesn't let anything slide. From technique to cardio, he expects perfection. And while that discipline helped shape Islam into the champion he is today, it's also clear that sometimes Khabib's presence brings a whole new level of pressure. In the clip, Islam could be seen shaking his head with a smile, saying, "Everything was fine before he came." Khabib just laughed, patting Islam on the shoulder, but you could tell he knew exactly what Islam meant. Those two have an unbreakable bond, but like any brothers, they have their moments of tension. Insiders say Khabib has been much more hands-on this camp, trying to fine-tune Islam's wrestling transitions and ground control, areas that he already dominates in. However, Khabib's competitive nature makes him push even harder, constantly reminding Islam that being a champion doesn't mean being comfortable. Fans love seeing Khabib back in the corner, but some believe Islam performs more freely when Khabib isn't around, focusing on his own instincts rather than trying to meet impossible standards. Still, both men share the same goal: to remain at the top of the division and continue Dagestan's dominance inside the octagon. So while Islam might joke about not being too thrilled with Khabib's return, deep down he knows that having the eagle back means one thing: it's time to sharpen every weapon. Stay disciplined and prepare for wear. Move on to another news. Dan Hooker has finally opened up about why the upcoming fight with Armen excites him so much. Over the past few weeks, Hooker has made it very clear he doesn't care for Armen at all. He even went as far as saying that if they cross paths during fight week for UFC Qatar, it'll be on site. The tension between the two has been building for months, but now Hooker has given fans a deeper look into why this matchup means so much to him. In a recent interview with Sky Sports, Hooker explained that what really excites him about this fight is the perception surrounding Armen. He said, "This fight excites me because they think he's a lot better than I am. That's what makes it so fun. Anything good that I do in there makes him look like more of an idiot." Hooker continued, "He was supposed to be the super freak athlete, the title contender, the guy who would beat Ilya, the one they're supposedly hiding the champion from. That's his story. And now he's losing to Dan Hooker, the bloke from New Zealand who's lost a third of his fights. Anything I do just makes him look more and more human." Hooker believes Armen is the one with something to prove, not him. And for a fighter, that kind of pressure can be a tough place to be. Armen hasn't competed since his highly criticized withdrawal from a planned bout with Islam back in January, and fans haven't forgotten it. Meanwhile, Hooker is coming off a strong 3-fight winning streak, regaining his momentum and confidence inside the octagon. A victory over the number 2 ranked Armen could push Hooker straight into title contention, something he's been chasing for years. That's why, when asked about the long-discussed fight with Justin Gaethje, Hooker didn't hold back. He said, "Justin Gaethje is not that guy. He doesn't get me closer to that guy, the champion. Justin Gaethje just gets me a headache. Armen is the path to the title. That's the path to being the champ. That's the path to being the best guy." For Hooker, this isn't just another fight. It's a statement. He's motivated, sharp, and ready to show the world that the bloke from New Zealand still belongs among the elite. Move on to another. News Alex Pereira has shared his thoughts on the controversial ending to the Tom Aspinall versus Ciryl Gane fight at UFC 321, and his reaction has the MMA community buzzing. Ever since that main event ended with multiple eye pokes leading to a stoppage, fans and fighters alike have been debating whether Aspinall could have continued or not. Now, Pereira has added his voice to the conversation, offering a balanced perspective on both sides of the argument. During his appearance on the MMA OA podcast, Pereira said, "I mean, we know he wasn't doing so well in the fight, but we've seen situations where a guy isn't doing great. Then something happens like a penalty, and the guy comes back better. Some people are saying he was faking it. Man, honestly, you can't say that." Pereira made it clear that while he understood the frustration of the fans, no one could truly know how bad the damage was except Aspinall himself. He went on to add, It's hard to understand. One poke seemed to go deeper into the eye. He didn't complain about it, but he grabbed the other one from the outside. We don't know the impact there either. His comments reflect the uncertainty surrounding the incident, how one eye poke might have seemed minor to viewers, while the other could have caused serious damage. It's worth noting that Tom Aspinall has been one of the most dominant heavyweights in recent memory. The man has steamrolled nearly everyone put in front of him, so for him to stop fighting, something must have been seriously wrong. Still, the debate rages on about whether he made the right call by not continuing. Meanwhile, Daniel Cormier recently addressed comparisons between his own experience with eye pokes and what happened to Aspinall. During an episode of the Good Guy Bad Guy show, DC said, "Aspinall's obligation is to walk out of that octagon with the belt. The chances go down tremendously when you defend that thing with one eye. I fought Stipe Miocic for a round and a half after he poked me in the eye. I wasn't the heavyweight champion anymore. I knew that was the last time I would make that walk. Of course, I kept fighting. Tom Aspinall is in a much different situation. He deserves a little bit of grace in this. It's clear that emotions are still high, and opinions are divided, but both Pereira and Cormier seem to agree on one thing. Only Aspinall truly knows how bad it was inside that octagon." Move on to another news. Max Holloway has made it clear that he's very interested in a fight with Charles Oliveira for the BMF title. Following Oliveira's big win at UFC Rio, Du Bronx called out Holloway, saying he wanted that fight next. And the BMF champ wasted no time in responding, saying he's more than ready to make it happen. For longtime fans, this matchup brings back memories of their first encounter back in 2015. That fight ended in strange fashion, with Oliveira suddenly stopping due to what was initially reported as a neck injury. Later, it was claimed he had a small tear in his esophagus. But after medical evaluations, doctors revealed they couldn't actually find anything wrong. The entire incident left fans wondering what really happened that night. Now, nearly a decade later, both men are at completely different points in their careers, and Holloway believes this rematch has serious meaning. Speaking to MMA Junkie, he said, "That's the fight I want. That's the fight a lot of people want to see. We have history. There aren't too many guys right now that people consider true BMFs, but Charles Oliveira is one of them. So you're telling me I get to go out there and defend the BMF title against a man who's respected, who I have history with, and who's been through it all? Let's go figure it out then." Holloway's energy and confidence were clear throughout the interview. But he also took a little jab at Oliveira when reflecting on how their first meeting ended. He said, "If you believe that the first one ended with me winning because of an injury, then fine. Everyone on social media can come at me for saying this. But if you really did your research, nothing was ever found. When he got released from the doctors, they said there was no injury. It's clear Holloway still feels like there's unfinished business between them. Both men have grown tremendously since that night in 2015. Oliveira went on to become a UFC lightweight champion, while Holloway cemented himself as one of the most respected and dangerous featherweights of all time. Max closed out the interview by saying he would love that fight because it's one that excites both the fans and the fighters themselves. He also threw in his prediction for another big matchup, boldly saying, "JDM is going to beat Islam." Holloway's confidence, as always, remains at an all-time high, and if this fight gets booked, fans are in for something special. Move on to another news. As UFC 322 gets closer, the anticipation for Islam Makhachev versus JDM continues to build, and surprisingly, more and more fighters are starting to believe that JDM might actually pull off the upset. Despite being a significant underdog on the betting lines, JDM has slowly gained momentum, with several high-profile names picking him to win. Fighters like Sean Brady and Robert Whittaker have publicly backed JDM to retain his welterweight title on November 15th. And now, Mario Bautista has also joined in on the growing list of believers. During an appearance on Tim Welch's podcast, Bautista was asked for his prediction. He said, "I'm going to go with Jack on that one. Someone has to beat one of those guys. My heart says Jack, but we'll see. It all depends on how Islam handles the move up. If he's just bigger and stronger at 170, or if the cut to 155 was actually helping him." That's been one of the biggest talking points heading into this matchup. How Islam's size and strength will translate to the welterweight division. On paper, Islam remains one of the most dominant grapplers in UFC history, but JDM's defensive wrestling and striking could pose a real challenge. Many fans point to his performance against Belal Muhammad in May as proof. In that fight, JDM's takedown defense and ability to control the pace completely neutralized Bilal's wrestling-heavy approach. Recently, Jorge Masvidal also weighed in while talking to Henry Cejudo about the upcoming fight. Masvidal said, "Islam is no joke, 100%. I think he's the best guy on the ground right now. Once it hits the mat, nobody else has better ground control, submissions, or pressure. He's a real-life nightmare. But the question is, can he deal with the size and the defensive athleticism of Jack? Jack can wrestle pretty damn good defensively, and he showed that against Bilal." Masvidal's comments highlight the exact dynamic that makes this fight so intriguing: the elite ground game of Islam versus the sharp striking, balance, and composure of JDM. It's a true clash of styles, and with Khabib Nurmagomedov back in Islam's corner, fans know that the Dagestani camp will be fully prepared for war. A recent clip even showed Khabib arriving in the US to help Islam prepare for the final stages of his training. With both fighters locked in and the MMA world divided, UFC 322 could very well deliver one of the most explosive title fights of the year. Move on to another news. Tom Aspinall is once again showing that his sense of humor is just as sharp as his striking. After all the controversy surrounding his fight with Ciryl Gane at UFC 321, Aspinall decided to have a little fun with the situation. The British heavyweight took to Instagram this week, sharing a pair of hilarious Halloween-themed posts that immediately caught the attention of MMA fans everywhere. In the first post, Aspinall is seen wearing an eye patch, clearly poking fun at the recent fight-ending eye poke incident. The caption read, "At least I'm ready for Halloween." The timing couldn't have been better. Coming off one of the most talked-about endings in recent UFC history, Aspinall leaned straight into the joke, showing he's not taking the situation too seriously. But he didn't stop there. Aspinall also posted an image of Ciryl Gane's Halloween costume, captioning it, "Man's been ready." Fans instantly flooded the comments, laughing and applauding Aspinall for his lighthearted take on what has been a pretty heated topic in recent weeks. The playful jab was pure Aspinall, calm, confident, and full of personality. For context, the fight between Aspinall and Gane ended abruptly after multiple eye pokes left Aspinall unable to continue. While some critics questioned whether he could have fought on, many fighters and fans defended him, pointing out how dangerous eye injuries can be inside the cage. Instead of letting the controversy drag him down, Aspinall decided to flip the narrative, using humor to move past it. The post quickly went viral across social media, with even fellow fighters chiming in. Some praised his attitude, saying it takes a real fighter to be able to laugh at himself after such a chaotic event. Others joked that this might be one of the best comebacks in MMA meme history. As for Ciryl Gane, the Frenchman hasn't directly responded, though fans have been tagging him non-stop in the comments. Knowing Gane's easygoing personality, it wouldn't be surprising if he fires back with a joke of his own. In the end, Aspinall's reaction proves that even in the middle of controversy, he knows how to keep things light. Whether it's inside the octagon or on social media, Tom Aspinall continues to show that he's not just one of the best heavyweights in the world, he's also one of the most likable and entertaining personalities in the sport. Move on to another news. Dana. White isn't holding back, once again showing why he's one of the most outspoken figures in all of sports. During a recent live stream with popular creator Nina Drama, the UFC president made an appearance, and as usual, it didn't take long for things to get interesting. In the middle of the stream, a fan dropped a question in the chat that immediately got Dana's attention. The fan asked, "Why is tomorrow and next week's UFC so bad?" Without hesitation, Dana fired back, clearly annoyed but also amused at the same time. He said, "Well, let me ask you a question. How's it bad when it hasn't even happened yet? Shut the pot up. Watch it tomorrow, and if it's bad, then tell me it's bad." The clip instantly went viral across social media, with fans split between laughter and shock at how blunt Dana was. But this kind of moment isn't new for him. For years, he's been known for his no-nonsense attitude and for defending the UFC against critics, whether it's about fight cards, matchmaking, or fighter pay. And this time, it was no different. He stood by his product with the same passion he's shown since the beginning. Dana's message was simple. Don't judge a card until the fights actually happen. He's been around long enough to know that even the least hyped events can deliver some of the craziest knockouts and most unforgettable moments in UFC history. Many fans who follow the sport closely agreed with him. pointing out how often fight nights that get criticized beforehand end up producing absolute bangers. The live stream continued with Nina laughing off the moment, while the chat exploded with reactions. Some users praised Dana for his honesty and energy, saying it's refreshing to see a CEO speak his mind so freely. Others joked that he should probably work on his customer service voice, but even those comments were made in good fun. At the end of the day, this was classic Dana White, fiery, unapologetic, and confident in the UFC brand. Whether people love or hate his approach, there's no denying one thing: he's always going to defend his fighters, his events, and the sport he helped build. And once again, with one unfiltered moment, he reminded everyone why the UFC remains the biggest show in combat sports.